Hey everybody, how's it going? Pancheezey here, coming at you with a little bit of a late episode for this Dragon Ball Super Review recap, whatever you want to call it. I was at AWA last week. It's Anime Weekend Atlanta, super dope con, really great. Got in a little bit later this week, and then there's a whole bunch of Hurricane Matthew stuff happening right now, so please excuse the lateness of this. But let's go ahead and jump right in, because the episode was super tight. I even I was sitting on my phone in AWA, like hunched over in this little ass screen, watching this episode because I had to absolutely know what it was, because in this episode Black reveals himself. Truly, there's a lot of really cool stuff that happens in terms of Trunks' character, Vegeta's character, Chibi Trunks' character. A lot of really cool stuff happening here. So, you know, there is a lot of exposition in this episode, a lot of talking, barely any action until the very, very end. But a lot of the stuff we do see and learn in terms of exposition is really, really great. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. So the episode starts off with Trunks still saying that he doesn't believe the future timeline has changed, and Beerus says that he's stubborn, he's too stubborn, he doesn't believe him. If you read between the lines, that is basically saying that Trunks is more like Vegeta than he realizes, because, you know, obviously with him being Vegeta's son, he's inherited the trait of being super stubborn, because that's exactly what Vegeta is known for. And like I've been saying over the last couple of episodes, even though Chibi Trunks and Future Trunks have different interactions with Vegeta, it still shines through that Trunks is inherently stubborn, just like his father, even though Vegeta didn't specifically raise him like he raised Chibi Trunks. So that was a really cool thing to see. So Trunks pretty much decides that he's going back to the future no matter what, obviously. So before Trunks goes, Bulma suggests that everybody have like this huge dinner, reinvigorate everybody. You know, you can't go to battle with like an empty stomach and stuff like that. And then, you know, there's this really cool stuff happens during this dinner. I really like it whenever Beerus and Whis are trying new Earth foods, and that happens a lot in this. Beerus is trying this like new like jello or pudding or whatever it is. He compares it to dragon vomit on another planet, and then like he eats it, and then he's like so bugged out about how good it is, and that was really great. Some more comedy, really great. Speaking of comedy, Goku is like, yo, hey Trunks, and then both Trunks address him at the same time, which is really funny. Some comedy that I've always, you know, kind of dreamed of in my head ever since Trunks came onto the scene. You know, somebody addressing Trunks while Trunks and, you know, present Trunks were in the room, and they both saying yes. It's really, really funny stuff. Not necessarily like surfacely, like, you know, side splitting funny, but it's nice, calm and chill humor. So in the middle of dinner, things kind of shift. Vegeta says, he stresses actually, that we need a plan to defeat Zamasu and Black. We can't go into the future without a plan. He specifically says we need a plan to save Trunks' future. And that's really cool, because, you know, the older Vegeta probably would have said, like, you know, we need a plan to, you know, defeat these guys, because, you know, we have to fight them and defeat them no matter what, because we're Saiyans and we gotta kick this dude's ass and stuff like this. But I think it's really nice and really interesting that he specifically is saying we need to fight them and we need a plan to save Trunks' future, because, you know, as, you know, Dragon Ball Super goes more and more, and as this arc is developed more and more, you start to see that Vegeta truly cares for not only present Chibi Trunks, but future Trunks as well. And that's a really nice stark difference between how he felt about future Trunks back in the Android/Cell saga. It's a really nice black and white comparison, no pun intended, between these two arcs, because, you know, like I said before in the previous episodes, all Trunks wanted when he came from the future back of the Android and Cell saga is for Vegeta to accept him as his son, and, you know, not necessarily respect him, but just not necessarily like straight up love him, but like he just wanted Vegeta to accept him as his son and see him as someone who cared about him and stuff like that. And then that didn't necessarily happen until the very end of Cell saga after Trunks, obviously, you know, spoilers. It's 20-year-old show, but spoilers, he got shot. He got like a hole blown through him. But it's a really nice difference between that and now when Vegeta actually cares about Trunks. He cares so much to the point where he will talk about it in front of other people, in front of the people that he's known for years, and not only talk about it, but have this big outburst over like dinner in front of all of his peers about how specifically he has to save Trunks and his future and stuff like that. It's really, really good character development for Vegeta. It's really great. I really love how they're focusing on Vegeta and his character development in Dragon Ball Super. It's really nice. So after dinner is done, everybody's chilling by the time machine and stuff like that, and then Trunks he doesn't really get it, you know. He has this little outburst, and then it triggers future Trunks to go ahead and explain how time travel works, because, you know, Chibi Trunks is like, you know, it doesn't make sense. You know, Beerus said this is what's going on. Why isn't it happening? Like, why don't you believe him and stuff like that? And Trunks basically says, yo, for real talk, if that was true, then why am I here right now? Because I would have disappeared pretty much. I would have pulled it back to the future and would just disappeared into thin air. So he talks to Chibi Trunks, and this really cool, interesting type of like set piece. Like, they both fly into the air, so Trunks can show him the cityscape, like the skyline and stuff like that at night. He basically says that, hey, you know, our two futures are different. The worlds that we both live in are very different, even though they're the same. They're just different. I've never seen anything like this. Future Trunks says that he's never seen the city skyline like this, emphasizing still between the lines that the future he's only known destruction and heartache and stuff like that. And he pretty much just recaps the events of the Android saga. He really emphasizes on Android 18, because that is like a common point between the two timelines. That's something that Chibi Trunks will understand, and something that Future Trunks can stress to him. He basically says that, you know, in this world, Android 18 she's a nice person. She's married Krillin. She's had a child. They have a family now. But in my world, she's very evil. She's he didn't say it, but she's pretty much the reason for all this garbage. But he emphasizes that is one of the most stark differences between his world and Trunks' world, that Android 18 is like evil in his world, and Android 18 is good in Chibi Trunks' world. He also emphasizes on how he's never known Vegeta. Vegeta just died. He died 6 months after he was born. A lot of Vegeta emphasis in this episode between Vegeta and Trunks. It's really nice. And then, you know, after talking about that, Chibi Trunks gets it. You know, he's a smart dude, obviously being Bulma's kid and, you know, Vegeta's kid. He's a smart guy, and like after he explains it, he gets it, and it's really nice. So they're about to go. Future Trunks turns to Beerus, and then he says, "Yo, I'm sorry, I've been really rude to you, man. But I just want to thank you for what you've done. And on the off chance, throwing a little shade, but on the off chance that everything is as you say it is, I just want to thank you sincerely." And then after that, there's this really cool scene between Trunks and Vegeta. It's very small and it's very subtle, and if you like turn away for a second, you'll miss it, but there's a lot of stuff there, I think. Vegeta specifically says to Trunks that if the timeline is fixed, I never want you to come back here again. And then that's a very, very very classic Vegeta thing for him to say, a very tropey Vegeta saying. But then Trunks immediately looks at him, smiles, and says, "Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure, I won't come back here." And that's once again, it's a really nice stark difference between how interactions between Vegeta and Trunks differentiated between now and the Android Saga. Because if that would have happened in the Android Saga, Trunks would have been like beside himself. He wouldn't get it. He was like, "Man, what does my dad like me?" and stuff like that. But I think now he gets it. He's interacted with Vegeta long enough to know that that's Vegeta's way of saying, like, "I want you to stay there. You don't have to come back here. As long as you're safe in the future, you don't have to come back here." And you not coming back here lets me know that you're safe and stuff like that. A lot of stuff happening. A lot of lines needing to be read between. No, sorry. a lot of points needed to be read between the lines, but it's still strong. It's still impactful, and I think that's just really cool. It's really nice to see the differences between Trunks and Vegeta's character interaction now versus when Trunks first burst onto the scene back in the Android and Cell Saga. I know I keep on saying that, but it's super important. Just trust me. Just listen. It's super important. Also, as all that's happening, Bulma says, "Yo, I'm coming too." And everybody's like, "Yo, why are you coming? Why?" And she pretty much explains that, you know, if I don't come, then who's gonna steer the thing back? Small holes, because they were able to come back last time. But it was Mai, to be fair. But then again, how does Mai know how to use the time machine? I don't know. Holes, small holes, but it's okay, you know, we'll figure it out. But so she basically just bullies her way into coming. I think that might have something to do with what happens later. Let's go ahead and put a pin in that, but it might have something to do with how many Zenzu beans are left in the future. So they go ahead and they leave, you know, Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Bulma all cram in that little spaceship. Goku promises he won't get sick. Spoiler, he gets sick. But as they leave, Chibi Trunks chases after the time machine. It affects him, you know, everybody leaving and stuff like that. It affects him to the point where he, you know, flies and chases after the time machine. I think that was a really cool, subtle, small thing. So they go and they arrive back in the future, and then nothing has changed. Obviously, duh. We've known for a long time that the two timelines are separate. Events that happen in the timeline A don't necessarily affect timeline B in any way because they're own two separate entities. So obviously, nothing has changed. As soon as they get there, they learn that Maya's hurt, and they immediately go down to like the underground base or whatever. And then Trunks is bugging out. He asks Goku for a Zenzu bean. And then something interesting happens. Not necessarily interesting, but something interesting to me. Maya is obviously unconscious, so she can't chew up the Zenzu bean. So Trunks chews it up for her, and then feeds it to her through his mouth. Obviously, this is known as a kiss for those of you who have experienced it before. God. And then there's this like little interaction between Vegeta and Goku. Goku's like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" And Vegeta's like, "He's kissing her, man." And then Goku's like, "I don't know what that is." And then Vegeta's like, "You're married, dude." And he's like, "I don't know I don't know how those two things are connected in the slightest," which is a little strange. I think that this is the first time in terms of like character writing that things don't necessarily add up, because I don't know. It's just personal stuff. Because yeah, Goku was absent-minded, but I think, you know, obviously Chi-Chi would have eventually done something like that. Like, I don't know. That's just personally something strange that was strange to me. I think that they went too much into the Goku is too absent-minded as a joke, and now they've written in that he's never kissed his wife, which I think is strange. But hey, you never know. But speaking of like kissing, the thing that I thought was interesting about this scene was this is the closest we've seen characters kissing on Dragon Ball, period. Like, if you've kept up with Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama is notorious for not writing romance. He's notorious for not writing like mouth to mouth kissing and stuff like that, because that's generally not his strong suit. So he basically just stays away for it. And I think this is the closest we've seen two characters come to like kissing like that on screen, which is wild. Like, I think the closest we've ever seen was when Goku, ironically, when Goku and Chi-Chi kissed right after he woke up from the heart virus. But that was filler, unfortunately. But anyway, moving on past all this stuff. Clearly it's not important to Akira Toriyama, so it's not important here, unfortunately. So, all that's interrupt. Everybody's having good vibes that Maya's alive. Trunks is very visibly he's overwhelmed with joy. Like, he's tearing up, he's like kind of shaking and stuff like that, and it just really emphasizes that Trunks like truly cares about Mai, stuff like that. These characters are meant to be together. And also backtracking a bit, as Trunks is leaving, he addresses Mai and Chibi Trunks to take care of each other, just emphasizing that these two characters, beyond timelines, doesn't matter, are seemingly meant to be together. So going back, after Maya's revived and stuff like that, Vegeta senses Zamasu and Black Sky, which also in itself is an interesting tidbit, because Zamasu is a god, Black supposedly something along those lines. We'll find out in literally 5 minutes when Jesus Christ. When I disclose that information. But it's interesting that they can sense their Kai. Obviously, they've been able to achieve they've been able to utilize God Kai for a long time, but it's really nice for them to subtly re-emphasize that they can sense God Kai, which is really cool. So they arrive. They still don't have a plan. Goku says like, yo, it's fine, you know. The plan is to, you know, beat him up, I guess. Vegeta says once again that Goku is too carefree. He says that all the time, but perhaps this could be harking back to the training they received with Whis over on Beerus's planet, that Goku is in fact too carefree and stuff like that. But you know, you never know. It's just really nice for that stuff to be re-emphasized. So a quick thing to note is they only have 4 Zenzu left. They came to the future with 5 Zenzu. Obviously, they used one on Mai. And there's only 4 left. So perhaps something might happen where everybody needs a Zenzu. Bulma is there. She's probably the most vulnerable person there right now, or in terms of not only her strength, but her character as well, because she is part of the main cast. And, you know, it's just strange that she's there. It's strange that there's 4 people in the future: Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Bulma, and there's only 4 Zenzu left. And, you know, by Dragon Ball rules and by, you know, just basic dramatic rules, period, something might happen to the point where they will need more than 4 Zenzu, and there's only 4 people left. Who really knows? It's just something to keep in mind for now. Just want to go ahead and put a pin in that and just address it, because much like something I'm about to address, I was completely correct on. So they go ahead and they meet up with Black and Zamasu. They exchange a few words and stuff like that, and then Vegeta immediately attacks him, goes straight into Super Saiyan Blue and starts attacking Black. Black goes into Super Saiyan Rose. They have this like quick squabble and stuff like that, and they both the squabble ends with them like clashing, and then the shockwave that resonates from that clash is like huge. It like flows like beyond like the cityscape, hits the skyline, and explodes like on the horizon. It's really cool, really dope. Black like throws some shade, definitely. He says the last time that we fought Vegeta, I whooped your ass, man. It was pathetic. He says our last standoff was pathetic. And then Vegeta says it's different now because now I'm fighting for Trunks. And like, man, what great character development, like for Vegeta. I've said it like countless times. I don't have to go over it all over again, but it's really nice to see Vegeta straight up just standing up and saying, yo, I don't care if you think this, if I think this is embarrassing. I love my son, man. Fuck you, I love my son. Everything is for Trunks now, so it's really, really great. I really love it. Black goes on and counters. He says, this is very unsaiyan-like of you, Vegeta, which, you know, truly it is. For Vegeta, it's very unsaiyan-like, but, you know, it's called character progression, so, you know, I'll let it slide. So after that little exchange, Goku says that he's figured out their plan. He knows what the deal is. The jig is up. You know, you've been bamboozled, son. I know the plan. I know what's going on. I know the steps you're about to take before you even think about taking them. Clearly he's wrong. Black says, nah, man, that's not it in the slightest. Black says, you think I'm a fake? I'm not a fake, man. I am you. This is the genuine Goku body. I am not a clone. I am not a double. I'm not a doppelganger. None of that jive. I am straight up you. He discloses that one of the wishes, the first wish with the Super Dragon Balls, were for Zamasu and Goku to switch bodies. And then Goku's like, yo, switch bodies? That's crazy. What happened? Where am I? Where is Goku Zamasu? I guess. And then the episode is over, but not before. He says, I killed him, son. I killed him with these hands. And it's a really tight shot of, you know, these hands, but also they emphasize the time ring, which harps back to what I said a little bit earlier. If you've been watching these episode recaps for a while, like I predicted, it seems as if though future Zamasu goes back with the time ring, is Black, and goes back and then finds present Zamasu, and the Zamasu you see there is a younger timeline version of that timeline Zamasu. I know it's a little convoluted and a little confusing, but whew, I called it, son. Woo! I called it. Very exciting. I'm sitting here alone in my room congratulating the fact that I called something that was probably easily read. Anyway, but that was pretty much the episode. We had a new ending as well. Not my favorite. I think it's the weakest of all the endings. I still think the first ending is still really, really great. The second ending was good as well, and then the ending we had previously was probably my second favorite. But this new ending is kind of, I don't really like it. It'll probably grow on me, hopefully, but it's definitely the weakest of weakest of the three we've had so far, or weakest of the bunch we've had so far. Anyway, once again, sorry for the super late episode. I know by the time this comes out, it'll be like 3 days before the next episode comes out. But once again, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns. We'll start a discussion. Let's go ahead and make some predictions for next week if you want to go ahead and do that. And thanks again for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.